Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So transfer deadline day, so as you all currently know, all the Premier League clubs got till 5 p.m. Today to finalise their incomings, but have still got until of course the 2nd of September to negotiate the sale of players. But the big question is, are Manchester United going to make at least one more signing before the window does shut today, this current evening? So we do know this summer Manchester United have signed 3 players and spent £148 million on Daniel James, on Wan-Bissaka, and of course on Harry Maguire. But obviously I think the majority of Manchester United fans, including me, know that's not enough for Manchester United, and obviously we do need to invest in that midfield, because we have got problems in that midfield. Obviously for the majority this summer we have been in search for a right winger, but I did say I'm very sceptical about a right winger coming to Manchester United. And obviously now with Lukaku leaving the football club, obviously we're going to have to try and find a replacement for him. But it was quite obvious really, we wasn't going to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window. Obviously this has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's for summer as Manchester United manager, but there is actually still quite there is lots to address in the squad. I do believe we need to get rid of more players than Romelu Lukaku, because there is problematic players in that the football club that do currently need to be sold and all that. So these basically still lots to address the squad. I don't agree the way the club's been run in the last 6 to 7 years. To be quite honest with you, but analysing our recruitment policies anyway, especially in the last couple of windows, it's been very very poor. We didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, we didn't get our number one targets last summer. But I do believe the current squad we've got at the moment, I still think it's good enough to finish in the top 4 this season. I think this season anyway, our expectations will be able to finish in that top 4 and maybe win some silverware. And obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got to exceed these expectations. We won't win the league this season. I think we're at least a couple of years off from winning the league, but I think our expectations this season will be able to finish in that top 4. But anyway, we've got big ambitions for the future. Obviously want to get back to winning trophies and that. This is obviously something Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to want to bring back to the club. But Solskjaer has given his overall analysis on this window. Basically, he did say we're still looking to sign one or two more players before this window does currently shut. But I think now there is no more incomings for Manchester United, so I'd say with the incomings now it's finished. But we've still got, don't forget, until the 2nd of September to negotiate the sale of players. But that midfield is definitely one of the pivotal areas where Manchester United do need to strengthen up, because analysing our midfield it isn't good enough. You've got the likes of Paul Pogba. To be fair to Pogba, when he's at his best, he's one of the best midfielders in the world. Obviously we do know this summer that Paul Pogba's obviously been relentlessly linked to a move from Manchester United. Now, obviously he's been heavily linked to a move to Real Madrid. Obviously his first choice preference has been Real Madrid, and his likely destination has been Real Madrid, of course. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing everything he can, to try and convince Paul Pogba to remain at the football club. Now, obviously we need at least one midfielder in there, at least one midfielder, because obviously going on into this season, if Paul Pogba gets injured, where's that creating? If he's still at the club, that is, where's that creating the in that midfielder? You've got the likes of Matic. He's too slow, too ineffective, too inconsistent. He's not getting any younger. You've got McTominay, you've got the likes of Fred, and you've got Pereira and that. They did well in pre-season, and hopefully this season McTominay can be better. Hopefully Pereira can do better. Fred and that can do better. Since Fred's come to Manchester United, obviously he came last summer. He hasn't really replicated what he hasn't performed to the same level of standard as he did at Shakhtar Donetsk. To be fair to him, he did well towards the back end of last season. He has started he did well throughout pre-season, did Fred. But like I said, Fred, McTominay and Pereira, I still don't know if they're the long-term solutions for Manchester United. I don't know if they've got the attributes to succeed at Manchester United. So I have got strong reservations about them. But analysing that midfield, it isn't good enough. So I do believe we need to try and bring at least one midfielder in. There's been a hell of a lot of midfielders on our agenda, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's been working very very hard to try and bring midfielder to Manchester United, because he's aware of the deficiencies in the squad. And obviously Ed Woodward has been overseeing our transfer position. he's been working on, getting deals and that over the line. Obviously we've been in for Bruno Fernandes for the entirety of the summer. We've become infuriated with the cheers about Bruno Fernandes. We've been in for Sean Longstaff. Obviously now we was in for Christian Eriksen, but we're no longer in for the player there now. But yeah, definitely, Manchester United need a midfielder, and with Paul Pogba anyway, since he rejoined back in 2016 from Juventus, in the majority of the 3 years he's been here, he has been very inconsistent. I do believe he did well in pre-season, he did well in that 3-month period, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was the interim manager. But like I said, I think, with just Paul Pogba in that midfield, it isn't enough. We need someone that can play alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield. So, I knew we wasn't going to address all the problematic areas in one transfer window, but at least we've got that experienced centre half in that we wanted through Harry Maguire. I think Harry Maguire is a fantastic upgrade to the likes of Smalling and Phil Jones, because he's the best option, is Harry Maguire, than what we've currently got in our backline at the moment, because Smalling isn't good enough. Obviously we do know Phil Jones isn't good enough, and comparing Smalling and Jones, I think Smalling's a much better defender than Phil Jones. But I think now one central defender will go with Harry Maguire coming in. Maybe Smalling that goes, maybe Jones that goes, maybe even Marcus Rojo where that goes. But I would get rid at least one. I would get rid of at least one or maybe even two central defenders. Rojo needs to go anywhere, because he doesn't really get the chance anyway. His Manchester United career has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries he has sustained. So I do believe that Marcus Rojo should be sold. I also believe Darmian should go as well, because Darmian's enjoyed very difficult time with the club. Darmian hasn't really been given the chance, so I think we need to get rid of Darmian and that. But with Eric Bay, he'll be staying at Manchester United, I should presume, but his Manchester United career has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries he's sustained. Obviously, he's a doubt for this season. I think he's out for up to 5 months with a serious knee injury. But yeah, I'm very glad we got Harry Maguire, and it's very good business from the club. Maybe we did overspend a little bit on Harry Maguire, but he's a very good central defender, highly experienced. Can bring the ball out from the back. Very good in the air, and he's obviously now the most expensive defender in the world. Obviously, the fee we paid for him exceeded the fee of what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk back in January 2018. And of course, he's not only the most expensive defender in the world, he's the second most expensive signing in the Premier League, and our second most expensive signing, just behind Paul Pogba, who we paid £89 million for. It's confirmed Harry Maguire will be wearing that number 5. Obviously, that's obviously what Rio Ferdinand wore, when he was at Manchester United. But I do believe Harry Maguire, will be giving his debut on Sunday against Chelsea, which is absolutely fantastic. So these still quite a bit to address in the squad. Solskjaer's priority now is to get a midfielder in. He'll be also now looking for a replacement for Romelu Lukaku. There's a big question mark. There's a question mark what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, is going to do with the young players. Obviously, the young players, did really well throughout pre-season. I do believe, they'll get given their chances this season. I think the majority of the team will get the chances this season. The young players, the fringe players, the experienced players, and all that. But I do believe, we'll have a better season this season, because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th. Obviously, we didn't win any silverware. Obviously, we failed to qualify for the Champions League. So certain players, may have reservations about coming to Manchester United, because we're not in a Champions League football. But I don't think we're going to make any more signings now. I think the 3 signings is enough now that we've made. Well, it isn't enough for me, but I just don't think we're going to do any more signings. That's obviously my opinion, but I definitely believe more players do need to be sold by the football club. So really, the £80 million that we paid Harry Maguire, obviously we've generated the majority of we've generated the majority of the money back. Obviously, from Romelu Lukaku's departure, so that's really good. The news about Romelu Lukaku, anywhere, he has, I think, flown out to Italy for his medical with Inter Milan. Obviously, reports came out yesterday saying that obviously Inter Milan had made a third offer. Manchester United have accepted this third bid by Inter Milan. I do believe it's around £73 million with add-ons included. Is it? It's different quotes in different media outlets. They're quoting different prices, and that's some are saying it's £77 million, saying it's £65 million up front. With £12 million in add-ons. But they have they have met basically our valuation. This is why we have accepted Inter Milan's offer. Obviously, we do do know that Lukaku, wanted out of the football club anywhere. We do know that he wanted out the football club. Obviously, Lukaku had been training with the Anderlecht reserves in the past couple of days, I do believe. Obviously, because he was waiting to leave Manchester United. He was also fined 2 weeks' wages of £400,000 with his refusal to return to training on Tuesday. Maybe nothing to Lukaku, but in this day and age, to me, it's a hell of a lot of money. But he did get fined £400,000. But he did confirm that Lukaku's agent Federico Pastorella yesterday arrived in the UK to obviously hold talks with Manchester United. But he just recently confirmed that Inter Milan had a £68 million bid turned down. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago, they had a £54 million bid turned down. But obviously, Inter Milan have been in for the majority of the summer. Obviously, Antonio Conte has identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. And obviously, Antonio Conte now, he's got his number one target on the board. Obviously, he's been a long admirer of the player, because reflecting back when Antonio Conte was at Chelsea, he wanted Romelu Lukaku at that point. But obviously, he ended up turning down Chelsea and making the move to Manchester United. And Lukaku, anyway, he did say he was keen on playing under Antonio Conte's guidance, because probably believes he'll flourish under Antonio Conte's guidance. Because don't forget, Lukaku did describe Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world. But yeah, Inter Milan have been in for the majority of the summer, and obviously, Inter Milan have been constantly in talks with Manchester United and that. Obviously, Inter Milan, I think, had been under financial fair play restrictions. Don't forget, throughout the course of the summer, they were trying to offload a couple of their players, to help us, help them generate funds to meet our 75 or 80 million pound valuation. But we blatantly made it clear that we wanted to recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago, because we did actually pay 75 million pounds for him. There was 15 million add-ons included, which did potentially, rise it to around 90 million pounds. So obviously, Lukaku is one of our most expensive signings. He did initially still have 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. But the majority of the summer, Inter Milan, were struggling to meet my valuation. But at last, they've come up with an offer that's acceptable. That's being accepted by Manchester United, which is very, very good. I think also Inter Milan, inquired about getting Lukaku on a 2-year loan with the obligation to buy. But again, Manchester United didn't entertain this offer. So, for me, I think me talking on Lukaku's behalf, I would have gone to you. My preference, would have been Juventus, because obviously, Juventus would have been able to guarantee more success. And I think Lukaku a while back was talking about, that he was excited about the prospect of playing alongside Cristiano Ronaldo and Juventus team and that. And I think overall Juventus have got a better side there than Inter Milan, but they've got a better side there than Inter Milan and all that. And obviously, we'd have benefited from Lukaku going to Juventus, because obviously, we got Dybala as part of the deal. But obviously, with him going to Inter Milan, we're just generating the funds from his departure. Now, obviously, we've got to go in the market, and we've got till 5 o'clock, to go and find a replacement for him. And I'm very sceptical that we are going to find a replacement for him. Honestly, I do believe it's not, currently going to happen. But obviously, it came out, earlier on this week anyway, that Inter Milan had revived their interest, because obviously, the swap deal had broken down, between Romelu Lukaku and Paul Dybala. Obviously, he did initially say that Lukaku had agreed the personal terms with Juventus. Obviously, he said he agreed the personal terms, his contract term, and that Green agreed. But obviously, for that swap deal to go through, the deal basically, hinged on Paulo Dybala. But obviously, as it had confirmed, the swap deal's dead in the water. We ended our interest in Dybala, due to his reservations about coming to Manchester United, and due to his reservations about coming to the club, and due to his substantial wage demands and the agent fees, we ended our interest in Dybala, and that's obviously, that swap deal was off, even though the swap deal, would have been, very, very beneficial. But I'm glad anyway, we've sold Romelu Lukaku and that. Very, very happy. And obviously, he didn't make one appearance, throughout pre-season. And obviously, that fueled more speculation. According to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he said, Romelu Lukaku was injured. He had some kind of ankle problem. This is why he didn't make one appearance, throughout pre-season. But basically, he angered the club, with him, going with training with the Anderlecht with reserves in the last couple of days and that. So he angered Manchester United. And basically, with him, going to an Anderlecht reserves and that, obviously, he was forcing his way out of the football club. Basically, was the player. Obviously, he served 2 years at Manchester United. Obviously, he scored 42 goals in 96 games for the club in all competitions. I'll give Lukaku the credit. He was exceptional in his first season. Didn't really replicate that form in his second season. But yeah, he was exceptional in his first season. There was Lukaku. His pedigree in the Premier League was very, very good. Obviously, his goal scoring pedigree in the Premier League, was very, very good. But you you do know I've got so many strong reservations about him. You know, his fish touch concerns me. Not really good in the air. You know, he hasn't really got that endless potential. You know, doesn't really get enough of them runs in behind. So we'll have to see his woeful first touch anymore. But yeah, we did. He had 2 years with Manchester United. Did the player? He's still 26 years of age, and you know, still got a hell of a lot of development in him. But Inter obviously are going to be able to show him first team football. You know, this season. Obviously, if you did say that Manchester United, you know, we wouldn't have been able to offer him first team football, because obviously since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference has been Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku, and especially now when you've got the likes of Mason Greenwood that's upcoming, you know, he's going to get promoted into the first team this season. You know, he's going to get guaranteed more first team football. You've got Chon, you know, he's upcoming. Obviously you've got, you know, Daniel James, Martial, and all that in that attacking line. So obviously Lukaku anyway, you know, would find it very, very hard, you know, to get there in that mix. So yeah, I'm very, very good that the club are selling Romelu Lukaku. Obviously it's the 4th player that's going to be leaving Manchester United, you know, under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. So this is the 4th player that's going to be leaving since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, because obviously 3 players have already left. You know, Valencia left after he served 10 years at Manchester United. He left at the end of last season. Obviously we do know Ander Herrera left, and obviously, you know, Mario Fellaini left. So basically, we're in the market looking for a replacement for Ander Herrera and Mario Fellaini. But yeah, I am very, very glad, of course, that Manchester United are getting rid of him. So yeah, so obviously now Manchester United by 5 p.m. today have got to try and find a replacement for him. So obviously there was a lot of talks going on about Inaki Williams yesterday from Atletico Bilbao. Well, the vast majority of Manchester United fans will believe, you know, this is some kind of a panic buy, because we've never been in for Inaki Williams as far as I know. I've never even heard of his name, you know, to be quite honest with you. I don't really know much about the player. I do know people have been talking about his electrifying pace, because his pace and that is supposed to be very, very good. Maybe I don't think he's on the same sort of level as the likes of Rashford or Martial and all that. And he's actually not older than Rashford and Martial, because Inaki Williams is around 25 years of age. Now, reportedly, I was reading reports about it yesterday, and it said reportedly, you know, Man United and Ed Woodward are ready to pay his 81 million release clause, or his release clause 88 million pounds. It's 2 different quotes, because some reports said his release clause is 81 million, some reports said his release clause is 88 million pounds. Inaki Williams, I think, has spent the entirety of his career, you know, in Bilbao. I think he's scored 48 goals in 204 first team appearances, so he can score goals, can Inaki Williams. 25 years of age. I think he's only played once for Spain as the current player. I think he's under contract with Atletico Bilbao until 2025. I do believe, you know, Liverpool have also, you know, been in for him in the past, but maybe, you know, Inaki Williams is some type of panic buy, because we've never been in for him as far as I know. We haven't been in for him throughout the course of the summer, and all of a sudden the rumours have emerged now about Inaki Williams with Romelu Lukaku, you know, on the verge of departing Manchester United and that. So anyway, do you think he would be a good adequate replacement? You know, 81 or 88 million pounds is a substantial amount for Inaki Williams, but I don't really know much about the player, to be quite honest with you. I've never even heard of his name until, you know, I read it up in the media yesterday. But I don't think it'll happen anyway. I just think, you know, it's just the media, you know, speculating on it. I don't think Inaki Williams, you know, will be coming to Manchester United. But like I said, we've been in for quite a few attacks as well as midfielders. You know, don't forget winning for Dybala. Obviously, we was in for Pepe, but obviously, you know, Pepe has gone to Arsenal. Obviously, you know, we've been in for Moussa Dembele from Lyon. Obviously, you know, we've seen him as an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. But who do you believe, you know, should replace Romelu Lukaku in the football club? Because I think we definitely need a replacement for him. No, don't get me wrong, you know, we do look much better now in that attacking third of the pitch, you know, because we've got that pace. We've got that pace now in that attacking third of the pitch. You know, that's something Manchester United had lacked last season, that pace. This is why last season we, you know, wasn't scoring enough goals. This is why I wasn't ruthless enough in front of their goal. And we only managed 53 goals last season, which was a huge disappointment. But we have got that pace now. Up front, you've got Daniel James with electrifying pace. Don't get me wrong, Daniel James is still a prospect and he needs time to develop. You've got Rashford and that Martial with good pace. You know, with Martial, I think he'll play centrally against Chelsea. I think he'll play more centrally in the Premier League this season overall, because I think he looks very, very effective in that central position, you know, throughout pre-season. So I think he fulfills that number 9 role, you know, fantastically well. Maybe this season orchestrate on playing Rashford essentially in a central position quite a few times, because Rashford, seems to be more effective, centrally. But Martial and Rashford can both play out wide. They can both play essentially. But I thought Martial and Rashford, were fantastic, throughout pre-season. Mason Greenwood, he's going to get a chance this season, like I said. Chong, he's the upcoming future. Some people said maybe we should orchestrate on, loaning quite a few young players out. This is what some people have said, because maybe it would be beneficial for their future. Obviously, to gain them a bit more experience. Some people said we should loan Chon out. Some people said we should maybe loan Angel Gomez out. Some people have even said we should loan Alex Tuanzebe out. Alex Tuanzebe, again, I thought did well throughout pre-season. He did well on his loan spell with Aston Villa last season. Obviously, some people said we should loan him out though, because it will be, beneficial, and it'll gain him a bit more experience. But it's a big question. It's a big question mark. What is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, going to do with the youth, and that is the question. But we have got quite a lot of experienced players in the team. We have got quite a few major players. But for me, Daniel James. But for me, Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire isn't enough for Manchester United. And now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priority basically is to get a midfielder in there at least. And yeah, there's been so many players on our agenda throughout the course of the summer, because Solskjaer was talking about the speculation of players coming in, and of course players going out and that. But Solskjaer did basically say at the end of last season, he's worked out his transfer strategy. Wants to recommend a number of young players to come in that can grow, develop, and emulate in superstars and that. But Solskjaer, I think, was recently talking with Ed Woodward about the lack of the lack of business in this current transfer market and that. So he has been in negotiations and that with Ed Woodward. But actually, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's preference, was actually to get our transfer business completed, by the time we initially went on pre-season. But obviously, that didn't materialise. But like I said, he's still in the process of rebuilding. This has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager. But I do believe this season we're going to have a better season. I think our squad's good enough as it stands now for the top four finish this season, but it's still nowhere near good enough, to maybe challenge for a league or even win the league. Don't forget, we haven't won the league for over 6 years in that. And like I said, we have been inconsistent for the last 5 or 6 years. And I don't like the way the football club, like I said earlier on the video, has been run for the last 6 or 7 years. Obviously, since Alex Ferguson's retirement, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. I said just under £1 billion has been spent, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. I think it's around £968 million that got estimated what's been spent. This is what I've got confirmed in the media. A lot of money has been invested into the football club. We've had different managers with different philosophies. Obviously, 3 managers have been sacked, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. But players have come in. Of course, players have departed the football club. The £968 million we've spent obviously includes what we spent under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. So a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. And it's not only a lot of money is being invested into the football club. We have got players as well on big contracts. So that's another good thing while we're off-roading Romelu Lukaku, because obviously we're generating basically what we paid from Everton, basically majority of what we paid from Everton, and also he's freeing up our wage bill as well. So that's obviously going to help us as well. Because Lukaku was on a substantial amount at Manchester United. I do believe he was on over £200,000 a week and that. But good now, he's going to be leaving Manchester United. So now his transfer saga has finally come to a conclusion. His long-running transfer saga, should I say. So obviously, as I did give you my update yesterday in regards, to Christian Eriksen, obviously Manchester United are no longer in for the player now, as that did get confirmed yesterday. It got reported out from Simon Stone in the BBC. It also got reported out from Sky Sports, and it was also in other media outlets saying that we've ended our interest in Christian Eriksen, because obviously we believe his preference is a move to Real Madrid in that. And the only links really emerged about Christian Eriksen to Manchester United anywhere in the last couple of days. Obviously, we've only been attentively linked with the player. But it did initially say, we was considering an audacious late swoop for Christian Eriksen now. Obviously, Tottenham had initially reduced their asking price, because obviously it said Tottenham, wanted around £130 million earlier on this summer. That was the quoted fee that they wanted. Daniel Levy had confirmed this, but reportedly... but reportedly, Tottenham had reduced their asking price to around £70 million and all that. Because obviously, £130 million, that extortion amount, Tottenham are going to find it very, very hard to offload him. But reportedly, they reduced it to £70 million. We had been in negotiations. With Christian Eriksen's representatives over a deal worth around £50 million and that. But I think, Tottenham have come to accept the fact, that Christian Eriksen does want to leave. He may not leave this summer, he may leave in January, he may leave next summer, when his contract currently expires. But I do believe, Tottenham would rather cash in for Christian Eriksen, rather than letting go on a free transfer, next summer and all that, because he's only got a year, or is it just under a year left on his contract with Tottenham. But I think Christian Eriksen would have been the right type calibre player for Manchester United. He's highly experienced in the Premier League. I would have been excited about the prospect of linking Christian Eriksen up with Paul Pogba and that in our midfield. I would have been, really, really happy about that. Christian Eriksen's got goals in him. He's got assists in him. His work ethic's really, really good. His tenacity in that's really, really good. 27 years of age, so highly experienced, and he would have been absolutely fantastic indeed. Because we've had a lot of midfielders, before, and I don't think we've had. We've got a good midfielder now in Paul Pogba, but like I said, in the majority of his 3 years since he returned to Manchester United, he's been very, very inconsistent. Don't get me wrong, when he's at his best, he's one of the best midfielders in the world. But we've had midfielders in the past, we've had the likes of Morgan Schneiderlin and that. Obviously, I've had quite a few midfielders. I can't remember them all. I know we've had Schneiderlin, he wasn't really, really good for Manchester United. I think, the good midfielders we had back in the day, was Paul Scholes and Michael Carrick. They were a fantastic partnership and all that. And I want us to bring the type of midfielders in, that can emulate into like a Paul Scholes and a Michael Carrick and that, hopefully. And I think Christian Eriksen is a really, really good player. Like I said, he's been at Tottenham over 6 years and that. He's been at Tottenham over 6 years. Obviously, I think he's scored 66 goals in 277 appearances for Tottenham in all competitions, and I think he scored 49 goals just in the Premier League alone for Tottenham, 60 assists in 206 appearances in the Premier League. Tottenham paid just, I think, around 11.5 million for him from Ajax back in 2013 and that. But due to his impressive performances at Tottenham, Christian Eriksen has won Tottenham's Player of the Year award quite a few times. He's also won the Danish Football Player of the Year award on 5 occasions, reflecting on his impressive performances. And Tottenham deep down know how much of an imperative player he is, but I think Tottenham have come to accept the fact that he wants to leave. And obviously Tottenham, I've got quite a few players on their agenda, who could replace him, because actually Tottenham's priority, is to recommend a number 10, and so they're in search for an attacking midfielder, are Tottenham. But yeah, I think, obviously his preference is a move to Real Madrid, and this is what we believe. But I think actually, Real Madrid's top priority is Paul Pogba over Christian Eriksen. Probably Christian Eriksen, would be a cheaper solution for Real Madrid, but I think they still want to get a deal over the line for Paul Pogba. And Real Madrid, they've spent a substantial amount this summer. They've spent 300, or is it over £300 million, of course, on 5 players. But now Christian Eriksen to Manchester United is now dead in the water. He's totally out of the current agenda. But now, obviously, if Christian Eriksen isn't gone, by 5 p.m. today, Tottenham will be braced for European clubs to make cut price bids of under £50 million for Christian Eriksen. Don't currently forget. So he was a midfielder who was in for, but now he's totally out of the equation. The rumours are obviously still going on about Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon. I'd say now, I don't think he's going to be coming to Manchester United. Like I said, I think our business with the incomings is done now for this transfer window. I think Bruno Fernandes, it's looking very likely, he will be leaving Sporting Lisbon, but I do probably believe he'll end up making the move to Tottenham. I was reading recent reports yesterday, they're saying that Bruno Fernandes has agreed the contract with Tottenham. It also said that he's agreed the contract with Tottenham, the personal terms that have been agreed, but obviously no fee has come to an agreement yet, between Tottenham and Sporting Lisbon, because obviously Sporting Lisbon are standing, they're being ruthless of their valuation. They've confirmed, and the president of Sporting Lisbon has confirmed, they want around £65 million. The fee could be problematic for Tottenham, because I think they're not willing to pay £65 million. I think, according to the Daily Mail yesterday, Tottenham have had 3 bids turned down for Bruno Fernandes. They've had 3 bids turned down for Bruno Fernandes. I think the recent bid they've just had turned down is £60 million. Well, it was a deal with £60 million, including add-ons. I think they also had a £55 million bid turned down, so that's still 10 million short of the valuation. And I think the first bid Tottenham had turned down was just over 41 million pounds. So I think, according to the Daily Mail, Tottenham have had 3 bids turned down for the player. Obviously, Tottenham have identified Bruno Fernandes as a replacement for Christian Eriksen. Obviously, we do know they're still working on getting the deal over the line for Lo Celso from Real Betis and that. Obviously, they're in there for Dybala. So obviously, Tottenham are looking to do more transfer activity. Don't forget, they smashed their transfer record on Tanguy Ndombele, who they paid £65 million for. Obviously, their most expensive signing. And obviously, they got Jack Clarke from Leeds, but Tottenham, still do want to do further more investment in this window. But it did confirm. He did confirm last weekend. Obviously, Tottenham had held more extensive talks. Tottenham had held more extensive talks. With Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, confirmed last week that Sporting Lisbon's that Tottenham's officials had flown out to Portugal, to go and meet up with Federico Varandas, to currently thrash out a deal to thrash out a possible deal for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, it fueled more speculation last weekend. Bruno Fernandes, came off crying after Sporting Lisbon's 5-0 defeat to Benfica. Obviously, that fueled more speculation, and that was the second time that Bruno Fernandes went off crying in space of a week last week and all that. And obviously, last Friday, don't forget, Bruno Fernandes left Sporting Lisbon's training ground after a meeting, to finalise his transfer exit. So Sporting Lisbon are aware, that Bruno Fernandes does currently want to leave. But for the majority of the summer, we've actually, been considered the favourites to sign the player. But obviously, I think Sporting Lisbon's valuation seems to be the stumbling block of Bruno Fernandes leaving. So we haven't come to an agreement on a fee with Sporting Lisbon. Tottenham haven't come to an agreement on a fee with Sporting Lisbon. It said reportedly earlier on this week that we'd held more extensive talks with Bruno Fernandes' agent. I think it was actually throughout the night earlier on this week, and reportedly said we reached an agreement with the player. We agreed a 6-year contract, worth up to around £106,000 a week. But Di Marzio, he's reported on quite a few stories, throughout the course of the summer. And Di Marzio, he's a very reliable Italian journalist, especially when it comes to the Italian transfers. In other news, he can be reliable. Sometimes he does get things wrong, as he has done in the past. Di Marzio said the other week that we were closer to sign Bruno Fernandes, and all that. Actually, Bruno Fernandes did tell his Sporting Lisbon teammates that he is expected to leave this summer. And he did say the other week that we had an agreement in principle with Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes. So the other week it was looking very imminent that Bruno Fernandes was going to be coming to Manchester United. But like I said, he's the type of midfield that Manchester United need, because he's creative, his tenacity is good, he can score goals, he can create chances, he's very, very good from set piece. And still only at 24 years of age, got a hell of a lot of development in him. I think he did say that the board have got some it did say the board had some reservations about bringing him to the football club, because he's got little experience of playing in Champions League football. Obviously, hasn't really got the experience of playing to the highest level. So it did say the board had some concerns of bringing him into the football club. But obviously, for the majority of the summer, he has been one of our priority targets. Obviously, I think his move to Manchester United hasn't been dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. So for the entirety of the summer, Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United has not been dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba, because we're still obviously intending on bringing him in. But according to recent reports now, he's actually not on our list of targets now. He's Bruno Fernandes, so you can say he's out of the equation. Obviously, his initial release clause is £88 million. Obviously, Man United are not determined to go anywhere near this figure. Obviously, he's still under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. But mainly it's been Man United that have been in for him. His agent has been to the UK quite a few times, and his agent is looking for the best deal for his client. Obviously, Liverpool have been in for him here and there throughout the course of the summer. You can just say Liverpool have actually been tentatively linked to him. They've held a few negotiations and that with his agent. But he's the type of midfielder I would like at Manchester United without a shadow of a doubt. But I just don't see it currently happening now. But like I said, I would be excited about the prospect of Bruno Fernandes playing alongside Paul Pogba in that in our midfield. I just don't think it's going to happen now, though. So if he leaves, I think he'll end up probably making a move to Tottenham. I think his preference is a move to Tottenham anywhere over Manchester United. But like I said, Tottenham can offer him Champions League football. Manchester United can't offer him Champions League football. So I did say that could go against us in that aspect. Obviously, with Sean Longstaff, some people saying, we should still try and get Sean Longstaff in to the football club. I don't think Sean Longstaff's going to happen either. because as it got confirmed, I think it was quite a few weeks ago. Now I haven't read recent reports about Sean Longstaff. I know Manchester United have been in for him, throughout the course of this summer. But I think, it said, when Steve Bruce got appointed in, which wasn't obviously not long ago, Steve Bruce got appointed as Newcastle's new manager, obviously, following dismissal of Rafa Benitez at the end of June, basically. And Steve Bruce, he gave his overarching view on the speculation regarding Sean Longstaff, and he insisted that, Sean Longstaff's future lies with Newcastle, and he dismissed speculation of, Sean Longstaff, joining Manchester United. But there has been a lot of rumours going on about Sean Longstaff, throughout the course of the summer. We have been in for him. Obviously, he's British. Obviously, we've bought 3 British players to the club this summer. Obviously, he's upcoming as well. He's only 21 years of age, is Sean Longstaff, and he's only got 9 games under his belt. He only made his senior debut for Newcastle in December of last year. But I think it did initially say a couple of weeks ago, Newcastle quoted, what they wanted for him, and they wanted around £50 million for the player. It said a couple of weeks ago, was it now, or maybe even longer than a couple of weeks ago. And it did initially say that Newcastle have indicated out that Sean Longstaff is not for sale, but it said they wanted around £50 million. And I did initially say I'd be very sceptical of Manchester United paying this, because I think £50 million is too extortionate, for the player, of Sean Longstaff's calibre and level, because you can still say he's upcoming. Like I said, he did well towards he did well in the second half of last season. He did well under Rafa Benitez's guidance. I think he's under contract with Newcastle until 2022 with Sean Longstaff. Don't forget, throughout the course of the summer, we've held high level talks with Newcastle. From as far as I'm aware, we haven't made an official bid for the player. At one point, we was orchestrating on paying around £30 million for Sean Longstaff, and that maybe £25 or £30 million would be reasonable for him. But I'd say over £30 million is Newcastle basically asking for too much. But we only initially valued the player at around 18 or £20 million. And obviously, it got quoted out quite a few weeks ago now that Newcastle are demanding more than double that. So basically, Newcastle have priced him out of the market. He's not worth £50 million in my opinion. He's still a good midfielder. I think he's mainly a box-to-box midfielder in that, but he's another midfielder that Manchester United of course have been in for. But I'm concerned about that midfield, because we have got midfielders in there. They have done well throughout the course of pre-season, but what happens if Paul Pogba gets injured this season? Where's our backup? And that is the concern. To be quite honest with you. But yeah, I think there's no more investment now in this transfer window. I think our business is done. Harry Maguire seems to be our last bit of business in the current window. Obviously, with the Dybala situation, obviously you got reports coming out a couple of days ago. Obviously, you got reports coming out a couple of days ago. Di Marzio came out again. He's reported on a few stories. He says, Tottenham have agreed a €70 million fee with Juventus for Dybala. €70 million equates to around 64. Just over 64, I think, million in pounds sterling, and that. So reportedly the fee has been agreed. But obviously, Tottenham now will want to try and find an agreement with Dybala and his agent regarding the personal terms. And I did say, Dybala's wage demands and that, could the stumbling block of him, making his move to Tottenham. I was reading reports yesterday saying Dybala would demand in the excess of around 300 grand a week, to currently join Tottenham and that. And I'd be very, very sceptical about Tottenham giving him this, because they have got players on big contracts. They've got Harry Kane that's on around 200 grand a week, and basically Dybala is demanding more than Harry Kane. He was demanding 350 grand a week was Dybala, to come to Manchester United, and obviously we was reluctant of course to meet his current wage demands and that. And so I think Dybala is open to leaving Juventus. His initial preference was to remain in Turin, in that. Obviously he had returned back to training earlier on this week, but I do believe Dybala has held talks and that Maurizio more than likely Tottenham would have to smash their transfer record, of course, to get Paulo Dybala. I think he'd be a great addition to Tottenham's squad, and I think he'd do well, very, very well in the Premier League if he does come to the Premier League and that. But he may actually remain in Turin, even though he hasn't actually lost his place in the Juventus side. He lost his place to Cristiano Ronaldo last season and that. But obviously, he has been tentatively linked to a move to Manchester United, and that obviously is no longer on our agenda now. Dybala is predominantly number 10, and he can also play as a forward, but his goal scoring pedigree is good. In the entirety of his career so far, he has 78 goals. 118 goals, In his 4 years with Juventus, he scored 78 goals in 182 appearances in all competitions. So he's got 3 years remaining on his contract term and that with Juventus. But yeah, Tottenham are working on getting the deal over the line for him. So they're actually seeing Dybala as a replacement for Christian Eriksen and that. But obviously now we know Dybala isn't coming to Manchester United. But yeah, there's been a lot of players on our agenda, throughout the course of the summer. But what I do believe is. What I do believe is that our business is done for this summer. I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man, to get Manchester United back to success. And that I did say our expectations will be top four this season. I think our aspirations will be that top four in the next couple of seasons, as you all know. But Solskjaer, like I said, he's got he's got that experience of a manager. Not really to the highest level. He did win a couple of Norwegian titles with Molde. He proved himself when he was the interim manager at Manchester United in his first 3 months and that. Obviously, he didn't really do well with Cardiff. He got relegated with Cardiff, but he only had basically a short tenure with Cardiff. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is following Alex Ferguson's philosophy, and he believes he's following a policy that proved successful under Alex Ferguson. But like I said, he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years under the Alex Ferguson era. But I think we had a fantastic team under the Alex Ferguson generation. There's still a couple of players here from the Alex Ferguson era. But obviously, I know what squad Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to rebuild. He wants to build a team, of course, that can win trophies. Solskjaer wants to bring glory back to Manchester United, and obviously, that is the aim. But I still think, Man United, with the squad we've got at the moment, I don't think it's good enough, to win like any trophies or, and that, and it's not good enough to win the league at the moment. I'm sceptical about Manchester United winning the league this season. Even if it was to bring one more signing, I'd be still sceptical about Manchester United winning the league and that. But like I said, we will see what happens. But we've got a history of spending big on players. We've spent an extortionate amount on Fred last summer. We paid £50 million. But I'd say we overpaid for Fred. We've paid £50 million for Wan-Bissaka this summer. We've paid £80 million for Harry Maguire this summer. Back under Louis van Gaal there, we spent just under £60 million on Angel Di Maria. And he was another decent midfielder, that Manchester United should have had. Maybe we shouldn't have got rid of Di Maria, because I think he wasn't. I don't think he's with Manchester United long and that, but. I think he has started the season under Louis van Gaal, really, really well. Di Maria, but he's obviously, one of our most expensive signings and that. But so hopefully these vast improvements this season, and so I think our incomings are done for this summer. So I think we've just got to focus now on selling more players than Lukaku, because we've got until the 2nd of September to negotiate the sale of players. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching.